This book is called The Perfect Square by Michael Hall. Perfect square. It was a perfect square. It had 4 matching corners and 4 equal sides. And it was perfectly happy. But on Monday, the square was cut into pieces and poked full of holes. It wasn't perfectly square anymore. So it made itself into a fountain that babbled and giggled and clapped. See how the artist even added drawn details to their paper art? On Tuesday, the square was torn into scraps. So it made itself into a garden. Check it out. The artist glued down the papers and added details so it looked like flowers. On Wednesday, the square was shredded into strips. 5 strips. So it made itself into a park. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And they're overlapping, which means they're on top of themselves. And you can see the artist added a kite to the park. On Thursday, the square was shattered. All these little tiny cut pieces. So it made itself into a bridge. On Friday, the square was snipped into ribbons. Fancy scissor edges. So it made itself into a river. Look, they're even overlapping and added designs with different colors fish. On Saturday, the square was crumpled and ripped and wrinkled. So it made itself into a mountain. Notice there were 2 triangles that they flipped around to make one tall mountain. On Sunday, the square waited to see what was next. It waited and waited. Nothing happened. Its 4 equal sides were confining. Its 4 matching corners were rigid and cramped. So it made itself into a window. The window that looked out on a mountain that gave birth to a river that was crossed by a bridge that led to a park, was home to a garden, and had at its center a fountain that babbled and giggled and clapped. Look, they even drew the little people and added more dots. Today, you get to explore cutting and ripping paper on your own. Choose one paper to be the back of your artwork and write your name on it. Also, write the class code. Then flip it over so your name is on the back and you can have the whole front side to make art. There are lots of supplies that you're allowed to use, so let's talk about safety and tips and tricks on how to use these tools the best. First, we have scissors, of course. The pointy part, the sharp part, your thumb and your fingers go in. Open and close the scissors by expanding your thumb and finger and cut up scrap paper to make unique shapes. You can also make unique shapes by just ripping paper or tearing it or wrinkling the paper. I also have available for you these pattern scissors. Each pattern scissor has a design labeled on the side which shows you how it will cut. It does not cut straight lines, but it cuts a decorated edge. You can use these scissors just like regular scissors, but they'll give you a fancy pattern and edge. You can also use hole punchers or shape punchers. See how the hole punch has the big part with the shape sticking up? And then in between that shape sticking up, there's a little gap. That's where you put the paper. As you can see here, we stick the paper in between the hole puncher and squeeze the hole punch to make a punch. Squeeze and punch and pull it out. And squeeze and punch to pull it out. Sometimes when using a hole puncher, you might want to use 2 hands. I chose to punch a bunch of holes in my paper and then rip it off. Now it's time to arrange your collage. Your job is to play with the different pieces of paper that you have and arrange them in a way that makes you happy. This might take more than one try. I did not know what I was going to make, but when I began moving my shapes around, I discovered they looked like an airplane and a helicopter. And then once you've come up with your design, it's time to attach the pieces. You can use a glue stick. Carefully take off the lid and set it someplace so it doesn't roll away. Glue sticks are really awesome because you can just twist out just the right amount. But be careful not to twist out too much glue because that would be such a waste. Instead, just twist out a teeny tiny little bit of glue sticking out the top, like a peekaboo. With a glue stick, you can put the glue on the back of the paper you want to put on, and then stick that paper onto your base. Or you can put the glue on the paper and stick your scratch paper onto it to make your design. Both ways work really well. You'll have to decide which way works best for you. Being careful not to ruin the glue stick or get glue in places you don't intend. Then when you're done with the glue stick, roll back down or twist back down the glue so it's inside and carefully put the lid all the way on so the glue doesn't dry out. In the art room, you are also allowed to use liquid glue. When you get a glue bottle, you need to make sure that the glue that might be dried on the outside, you pick off. That is one of the very first steps, is to pull off any of that dried glue. Then, to make sure the glue's open, you're going to twist the top nozzle and wait for the glue to come out the top like you see here, or sometimes you can hear that the glue breathes. Once you hear that the glue is breathing, that means that the bottle is open and ready to go. But the glue is at the bottom of the bottle. So you need to shake the bottle upside down to get all the glue to slip and slide to that nozzle you twisted open. Shake, 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 upside down. Anytime you use liquid glue, a dot is a lot. By that, I mean that if you use just a dot, I promise your artwork will stick. Sometimes you could draw a very tiny line with glue, but mostly a dot is okay, or a tiny line. Here is what would happen if you used a puddle of glue. If you just keep squeezing and squeezing and squeezing forever and ever the glue, so you get a big messy puddle or even just a big puddle, then, well, first of all, it wastes the glue, but also when you put your shape on it, all that glue on the outside is wasted. The last thing to do with a glue bottle is to shut it. Twist down the nozzle and wipe off any glue that might be stuck on the outside. If you just wipe your fingers together, the glue will dry up and you don't need to wash your hands. You are also allowed to use tape, thinking about things you'd like to tape on. Now, the tape dispensers have a part on them that is quite sharp and could cut you. First thing, grab the tape between your 2 fingers and pull just a little bit out. Pull the tape down and sideways. Pull the tape down, but also sideways. See how it was harder because I didn't pull it sideways? And then you can put it on. A really cool thing you can do with tape is to make a tape donut or a tape circle by just wrapping the tape around and onto itself so that you can stick it underneath and between 2 pieces of paper. In a collage, You might find that you want to add other things, which is absolutely okay. You can see here I cut out shapes for birds. I wanted to add decorative designs with paper, and I even got out oil pastels to color in and decorate my collage in a fun way.